Hi, this is a video about the knowledge of ADHD. ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. What are the symptoms of ADHD? Trouble listening and paying attention, needs reminders to do things, gets distracted easily. Like remember in the movie Up, and the dog's like, ooh, squirrel. An example, seems absent-minded, like daydreaming kind of thing. Disorganized is losing. For example, I have ADHD. Now I use my key card or phone almost every day. Not gonna lie, every day. Another symptom is difficulty sitting still, waiting turn, or being patient. Another symptom is having trouble keeping their emotions in check. Another one is rushing through homework or task. Homework, for example, mistaking females for males when you're doing a test, or just running through things. Another symptom is making careless mistakes, such as forgetting the decimal on a test. Interrupts, talks, or calls out answers in class, asks for thinking, feels restless, frustrated, and bored. We're bored a lot. And also another one is make daydream, which is like being absent-minded, but you're actually thinking about something. Here are some things with sleep and ADHD. Sleep disturbances generally are associated with ADHD and can appear later in life, around age 12 on average. Although no scientific lecture described ADHD as being a classical risk factor for experiencing disturbed sleep patterns, is prominently caused by those who suffer with perverse sleep, where an individual who wants to stay awake feels like falling asleep, and vice versa, such as an individual who wants to fall asleep feels like staying awake. ADHD creates the following difficulties: falling asleep, staying asleep, and waking up. Common sleep problem for people suffering with ADHD. 3/4 of the total number of adults with ADHD have the inability to shut down their brain off from thinking. This causes lack of sleep or no sleep. Variety of things can trigger these thoughts, such as overworrying, tremendous amount of thoughts racing nonstop. Before puberty mark, roughly 10 to 15% of children with ADHD find difficulty in getting themselves to fall asleep. From age 12 all the way up to age 30 years, individuals find difficulty getting the average sleep needed. 70% of adults with ADHD report it takes near an hour to try and go to sleep. Imagine that. Having to go to bed an hour early so you have time to fall asleep. Gender differences in girls. We're going to go over some differences between boys and girls with ADHD. For example, girls are less diagnosed than boys and often aren't diagnosed until adulthood. Girls display inattentive symptoms, including forgetfulness, trouble paying attention, and problems with organization. Whether boys tend to display hyperactive, impulsive symptoms like blurting out or being able to sit in class. Girls, symptoms worse around the time of their menstrual cycle, then get better. And it can also have a negative impact on the girl's mental health. Whether for guys, 12.9% of boys are diagnosed, whether for girls, 4.9% of girls are diagnosed. Symptoms are more internal for girls, where for boys, symptoms are more external. I repeat, 4.9% of girls are diagnosed and 12.9% of boys are diagnosed. Boys are more external, as blurring out answers and being unable to sit still in class, where for girls, symptoms are more internal. They're forgetful, have trouble paying attention, problems with organization. ADHD in girls, the symptoms are ignored in females. We're gonna go over some symptoms that are ignored. That's mainly why girls aren't diagnosed as often. For example, daydreaming quietly in class, feeling anxious or sad. Girls with ADHD are more often to have anxiety. And exhibiting silliness or parent dizziness is feeling like overall kind of kiddish, if I may say. I've been called that. So it's from an in-person. Another one is acting shy or inattentive, just not really there. They also have trouble maintaining friendships, picks at cuticles or skin. I ran out of Band-Aids. It's a common thing. And also being a perfectionist, having things have to be perfect. Now we're gonna go over some statistics that are common for ADHD that you may not know. Statistics. The average age for ADHD is 7 years old. I know, super young. Symptoms of ADHD usually appear to 3 to 6 years old, even though the average age for ADHD is 7 years old. Here's the thing. Kentucky has the highest ADHD rates. Do I know why? No. And also, about 23% of American children who have been diagnosed with ADHD aren't receiving medicine or mental health counseling for their disorder. Honestly. Yeah, that's about ADHD. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the lesson and bye.
Are you allowed to talk about yourself?